Welcome back, dear listeners, to part 2 of our White House haunting series. Last time, we met the presidential phantoms, Lincoln, Abigail, Dolly, and the rest of the elite Afterlife Club. But tonight, we're stepping into the other side of the mansion's history. The forgotten corners, the attic, the garden, the places the Secret Service doesn't list on the tour. Here's the truth. The White House isn't just haunted by the famous, it's haunted by the forgotten. The ones who died too quickly, were erased from memory, or simply refused to give up their view of the rose garden. So settle in. Light another founding fragrances candle. This one's called Oath of Office and Ominous Drafts. Because tonight, dear listeners, the halls are busier than you think.
The shortest stay. William Henry Harrison.
In 1841, William Henry Harrison moved into the White House full of enthusiasm and without a coat. He gave the longest inaugural address in U.S. history, standing in cold March rain for nearly 2 hours. A month later, he was dead of pneumonia. The shortest presidency in American history, just 31 days. And yet, according to more than a century of reports, he never left. White House staff say the attic above the second floor sometimes echoes with slow, deliberate footsteps. One 1940s usher claimed he heard drawers open and shut when no one was there. Another said he felt someone breathing behind him as he inventoried old furniture. But when he turned, there was only dust motes and cold air. Even modern maintenance crews have commented on a man walking up there. No pranksters, no intruders, just a lonely sound of someone searching through trunks, perhaps still unpacking for a presidency that never began. Harrison's ghost is less of a fright and more of a sigh, a reminder that sometimes the briefest stories echo the loudest. He didn't get to make history, so he made the guest list instead.
The land's original owner, David Burns.
Before there was a White House, there was farmland. And before there was farmland, there was David Burns, the stubborn Scottish farmer who owned the land that George Washington wanted for his new capital city. Burns didn't go quietly. He refused to sell at first, earning himself the nickname the obstinate Mr. Burns. Eventually, after some heated negotiations and a bit of presidential persuasion, he relented. But perhaps not happily. For over a century, guards and staff have reported hearing a gruff male voice in the yellow Oval Room or near the South Portico, muttering about my land or what they've done to it. In 1903, a night watchman swore he saw an older man in 18th century clothes, pacing and gesturing toward the city beyond the gates. When the watchman approached, the man vanished, leaving behind only the faint smell of pipe smoke. Some ghosts cling to people. Others cling to property lines. And honestly, in D.C., that's probably the most relatable haunting of all.
The daughter who kept knocking, Anna Surratt.
Few stories in American history are as tragic as Anna Surratt's. Her mother, Mary Surratt, owned the boarding house where John Wilkes Booth and his conspirators plotted Lincoln's assassination. When the government rounded them up, Mary was convicted and sentenced to hang. Desperate to save her, Anna spent the night before the execution pounding on the White House doors, begging President Andrew Johnson for clemency. The guards refused to wake him. The next morning, Mary Surratt was hanged, the first woman ever executed by the U.S. government. Years later, guards began hearing frantic knocking on the North Portico doors, especially in the humid summer months when the air felt heavy with memory. Some claimed they heard a woman's voice crying, "Let me in!" Others described the doorknobs rattling violently, as if someone were still outside, still begging. There's something heartbreakingly human about Anna's haunting. She's not a wandering spirit. She's a memory that refuses to fade. If you ever stand before the North Portico late at night and hear a faint tapping, you might be listening to history still trying to rewrite itself.
Tonight's episode is brought to you by Presidential Poltergeist Tours, because democracy is fun, but ghosts don't filibuster. Book your trip today and get our exclusive souvenir mug, I Survived the Lincoln Bedroom, Barely. Use promo code SPOOKYSPOUSE at checkout for 10% off your haunting.
The Unfinished War. The British Soldier.
In 1814, during the War of 1812, British troops marched into Washington and set fire to nearly every public building, including the White House. Legend says that one of those soldiers never left. Guards have reported seeing a shadowy figure in a red coat patrolling the North Lawn, musket on shoulder, face obscured. Some call him the Smoking Man, because witnesses often see a faint wisp of smoke drifting up from where his pipe glows in the dark. In 1953, a Marine sentry on duty swore he saw the figure cross the lawn, salute, and vanish. Another, decades later, chased what he thought was an intruder, only to find the footprints ended abruptly in soft grass. Maybe he's a soldier still on guard duty, protecting the place he once destroyed. Or maybe he's just very, very lost, like a British tourist trying to find the nearest pub. Either way, I hope someone's told him the war's over.
The Romantic Return. John Tyler.
The Blue Room of the White House is one of the most elegant chambers, the site of receptions, holiday photos, and one ghostly love story. President John Tyler, widowed during his term, became the first president to marry while in office. He proposed to his young bride, Julia Gardner, right in the Blue Room in 1844. Long after his death, musicians performing during holiday events reported feeling a tap on the shoulder, and no one there. One clarinetist said he felt a cold hand push his elbow just as he played a wrong note, as though someone disapproved of his tune. During Christmas tours, visitors have described a sudden hush falling over the Blue Room, as if a private moment is being replayed in time. If the White House can be a battlefield, it can also be a ballroom. And if anyone deserves a lingering encore, it's a president who found love again in the middle of his presidency. The original Oval Office rom-com.
This episode is sponsored by Seance Safe Tablecloths. Stain-resistant, candle-friendly, and guaranteed not to burst into flames during contact with the spirit realm. Seance Safe, because when you're raising the dead, presentation matters.
The Thing in the White House.
Now, dear listeners, we come to perhaps the strangest haunting in the entire White House, the Thing. Between 1911 and 1912, staff members began reporting something unseen, a presence that would press lightly on their shoulders, as if someone tall were peering over them. They described a feeling of cold curiosity, and then nothing. Soon, rumors spread. Maids refused to go into certain rooms alone. Butlers claimed to see a boy with messy hair and sad blue eyes darting through the halls. One maid, Florence Marsh, swore she saw him standing by the staircase one morning, pale, silent, watching her, before vanishing. When President William Howard Taft caught wind of the hysteria, he ordered everyone to stop talking about it. "No ghosts in my administration," he said firmly. But privately, he reportedly told his military aide to find out what in the devil they're seeing. No answer ever came. After 1912, the sightings stopped. But even now, staff occasionally mention a strange sense of being watched in the West Wing corridors late at night, a feeling that something is almost there. What was it? A trick of light? Collective imagination? The ghost of Willie Lincoln playing hide and seek? Or maybe, and this is my favorite theory, the thing is the White House itself, a living, breathing memory of power and consequence. Because after 2 centuries of triumph, tragedy, and laundry, maybe the House doesn't just remember, maybe it observes. Every era leaves a fingerprint on that building. Every choice, every laugh, every secret. The White House isn't haunted because it's old, it's haunted because it's alive with history. And that history has a way of walking the halls when the lights go out. So next time you see a shadow move in a photo from the Lincoln bedroom, or you hear music in an empty hall, or you get the sudden urge to knock on a locked door, remember, you're in good company. Presidents, first ladies, soldiers, children, they all left something behind. I'm Amy, and this has been the Strange History Podcast, Things That Go Bump at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. If you enjoyed our little ghost tour, subscribe, leave a review, and maybe send a candle to the Lincoln bedroom. He's been working late for 160 years. Good night, dear listeners. And if you ever get invited to stay overnight at the White House, keep your slippers by the bed. You never know who'll be walking past your door.